Hello and welcome back to KXAN Plus. Thanks so much for joining us. We have an update from the San Marcos Police Department over a series of gunshots and one gunshot that resulted into a death that happened overnight on November 2nd. They have started that press conference, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that up full so we can listen to it and talk about it once it's over.
To protect our community. After he provides those details, he will then take questions from media. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn over to Chief Stan Stanridge.
I will report on these shootings in the chronological order for which they were investigated. In the early morning hours of November 1st, officers responded to numerous calls of a shooting at Old Ranch Road 12 and Houston Street. The time of call was 1:11 a.m. Officers arrived on scene and canvassed the area. Officers learned an unknown suspect or suspects fired a gun from a vehicle and into a wooded area. While searching the area, 2 victims reported a bullet had gone through their apartment. The victims did not feel like they specifically were targeted, so the motive behind this shooting is unknown. Officers seized 7 bullet casings as evidence, and this case is assigned to a detective. If anyone has any additional information, we ask that they call the San Marcos Police Department. The following night, but still on Saturday, November 1st, an overtime officer was assigned to the downtown square in anticipation of large crowds in the bar district. 3 others were also assigned but had not yet arrived. This officer was on the south side of the downtown courthouse investigating a reported robbery that had just occurred. While speaking to the victim, the officer heard multiple shots fired on the opposite side of the courthouse, on Hopkins' side. He immediately ran to this area while others were running away from one of the bars on Hopkins Street. The officer encountered a male victim who had been shot outside of this bar. As other officers arrived, they were told a second victim was inside of this same bar after having been shot outside. Within a few minutes, officers learned of yet another victim who was also shot, but he had fled to the opposite side of the courthouse. The first officer began CPR on one of the victims. This victim was eventually transported by EMS to Cresta Santa Rosa. He was pronounced deceased at the hospital. He is identified as Ronnie Hernandez Jr., born in 2006. We extend our sincere condolences to the Hernandez family. I cannot imagine their grief, and I want them to know that we have worked nonstop to identify the shooter who has caused this homicide. The second victim, who was found inside the bar, had been shot twice, in the stomach and in the shoulder. He was considered critical, and he was taken by EMS to Seton Hayes. He is expected to recover. The third victim was also shot twice, in the forearm and in the waist. He too was taken to Seton Hayes, and he is expected to recover. As more officers arrived on scene to provide medical aid and to secure the large crime scene, the bar district continued to operate. This caused significant issues, as intoxicated patrons were coming into the clearly marked police area and fights were being reported at the various bars. By this time, officers and deputies had arrived from the Hays County Sheriff's Office. Texas State University Police Department had already been downtown and assisting us, and the cities of Kyle and Buda. Simultaneously, calls in the rest of San Marcos continued to come in, and at one point we had 37 calls waiting, including some priority 1 calls, which necessitate 2 officers being dispatched within 2 minutes. We simply did not have enough officers to effectively manage the large crime scene, continued bar operations, and calls for service. At 1:18 a.m., I communicated to the on-scene fire marshal and San Marcos police officers that I wanted all bars on the square closed. It should be noted that this dovetailed with time falling back. So arguably, some would say that the bars were closed approximately 2 hours before their normal closing time. We are very thankful for their cooperation regarding this matter, as everyone seemed genuinely concerned with the events unfolding. Shortly after making this decision, another shooting call was received, this time in the 1600 block of Post Road at the Outpost Apartments. This call was received at 1:23 a.m. We are forever ever thankful to the Hays County Sheriff's Department as they made the scene first and summoned their crime scene team. Also assisting was our regional Texas Ranger, who has always been a great resource for all law enforcement entities in Hays County. Eventually, San Marcos Police would arrive on scene and ultimately take lead on this investigation. A large fight occurred at the apartment pool, and it was recorded. Detectives have a strong suspicion on the shooter's identity. Multiple bullet casings were seized as evidence. A second suspect pistol whipped another person, so we are actively working to identify and arrest both persons. There was one known victim who was taken to Cresta Santa Rosa by friends. However, blood trails at the scene suggested there may have been two victims. So if anyone has any information, they are encouraged to contact the San Marcos Police Department. Finally, during this same night, more shots were fired downtown at the intersection of LBJ and Hutchinson. This is only 1 block away from the ongoing homicide investigation. So officers were still on scene and investigating the first shooting. They heard the gunshots. A suspect was observed fleeing the scene. Officers chased him, tased him, and took custody of Eliezer Johnson Hernandez. The firearm was eventually found behind one of the nearby businesses. Regarding the homicide investigation and the shooting of 2 others in front of the bar, we can report that we have seized the suspect vehicle that was used by the 2 suspects. The 2 suspects are described as black males, and they got into an Audi A3 vehicle that was parked near Kissing Alley. Video from the downtown fire station captured the getaway vehicle, which then led to extensive searches using license plate readers. The correct car was identified and located by police, and it is currently in our custody. I want to extend sincere appreciation to all of our law enforcement partners in Hays County. All of them responded, including DPS's air crew, including our Sheriff Anthony Hippolito and his team. He actually sent a lieutenant to Incident Command at the downtown square, and he and his staff assisted not only with the crime scene and the preservation thereof, but also with the priority 1 calls that were occurring inside the city. So Sheriff Hippolito, hats off to you. Thank you for your continued friendship and partnership. I also want to thank Chief Matt Carmichael and the university, and both of my chiefs in the respective cities of Kyle and Buda. We did an all call, and they all came. And that's the way we do law enforcement in Hays County, and we're very, very thankful for our regional partners. I also sincerely want to thank our downtown businesses for their help with this matter, as well as their possession of good cameras. Cameras were able to capture this downtown shooting from many different angles. It captured the shooting that left 2 people shot twice and 1 person shot either 5 or 7 times. We don't know definitively until the autopsy whether or not some are entrance and exits, but we can say definitively that he was likely shot 5 or 7 times. I caution our community that this shooter is considered armed and dangerous. Video shows him shooting at the group of victims, and once several fell to the ground, he then closed distance on at least 2 of them and shot them several more times while they lie on the ground. We do not know motive. We do not know if there are any affiliations between the two groups of people. What we do know is there was a group of 5 males walking in front of the bar on Hopkins Street, and the before-mentioned black males. There were 2 of them. Something is said, we don't know what, because the video just captures video and not audio, whereupon one of the black males goes to his friend, and it looks like, based upon video evidence, retrieves a firearm from the other friend. He then goes back and reapproaches the 5 that were still in front of the bar, and he begins shooting at all 5, striking 3 of the 5. We want to reassure our community that we take these matters very seriously. We will have additional officers assigned downtown Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. These officers will be in addition to the officers providing primary police services on the streets of San Marcos. I specifically want to thank our partnerships and our partner with Texas State University Police Department. They have, in many recent weeks and in the weeks to come, continued to provide us an officer or 2 based upon their available staffing to plus us up at the downtown square. I look forward to that continued collaboration with Texas State as Chief Carmichael and I continue to work together. So at this time, I'll try to answer any questions that you may have. Yes, sir.
Do we know where this car was registered? Do you think that these 2 individuals live in San Marcos, or were they visiting from another city?
The question posed was, do we know where the suspect vehicle was registered, and are these San Marcos residents? I can tell you that, yes, we know where the vehicle was registered because the vehicle is currently in our possession. And at this point, we believe that at least one of them is likely local. Beyond that, I cannot speculate. Yes?
As it pertains to the increased staffing, do you expect that to continue just this weekend or for many weekends going forward?
Regarding the additional staffing, do I expect that the downtown officers will be just this coming weekend or going forward? Our pledge is that this will continue going forward throughout this fiscal year. With that said, we all know from experience that when school is not in session, that attendance at the bar district drops. So we will evaluate those on an as-needed basis. But I want to reassure, because I'm sure I have a lot of concerned parents all across the United States who are watching this unfold, that we will have officers assigned to the downtown bar district on nights that we anticipate large crowds. Again, those will be dedicated officers. We're shooting for a minimum of 4, plus whatever the University Police Department can provide us. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a potential age range for those 2 suspects? Do you know if they're university students?
The question was, do I have the age range and of the 2 suspects, I'm assuming regarding the homicide investigation, and are they university students? We have more information than we're willing to release at this point, so I'm not going to speculate any further. I will simply tell you that this is an ongoing investigation, and I will warn all of you, as you know as well as I do, that all of this is subject to change because it's still very early. Questions? Yes.
Chief, can you remember a night as busy or a week or a stretch of time as busy as what you experienced, like early Saturday morning into Saturday night?
Can I remember a time of similar busyness in San Marcos as what we experienced Saturday night going into Sunday morning? I've been here for exactly 5 years this month. In my time, I have not experienced that. In speaking to my assistant chiefs who have been here for 2 and 3+ decades, they have said that historically we experience a high call load on Halloween weekend. However, they both conceded that this was the rare and exceptional Halloween weekend. Yes?
What about the number of shootings in your time as chief? Does this seem like there are more shootings on the square than historically?
Question posed, what about the number of shootings? Does it seem like it's a higher number? I will share with you that year to date, we have had 38 shootings across this city. Again, year to date, we have had 38 shootings. 6 were in the downtown area. Based upon early analysis, it does look like violent crime is upticking in San Marcos. comparative to our last two-year normal. So that two-year normal would be 2023 and 2024. So far, 2025 is trending up, but we have had numerous meetings with the city manager's office. In fact, she is present today, City Manager Stephanie Reyes and her team, to include our Assistant City Manager, Chief Alonzo Anderson. He came to us, if you'll remember, from the Dallas Police Department, so he has extensive experience with dealing with these issues. We've been in nonstop dialogue. We're going to get this right moving forward because we need to reassure this community right now that San Marcos is still a safe place to live, to recreate, to send your students, and it is. My bride and I live in San Marcos. We are committed to the safety of San Marcos, as is this entire police department and fire department and EMS.
Chief, you mentioned at one point that you said you didn't have enough officers to maintain that crime scene as well as respond to those other shootings. Is that a concern moving forward that you might not have enough officers if something like this were to happen again?
Question posed, am I concerned that we will not have enough officers should I have a situation like this happen again? The police department, thankful to the city council, is currently undergoing a staffing analysis. We are under contract with a company called Matrix Consulting, and so the actual staffing analysis is ongoing. We would anticipate that report being done within the next probably 2 months. So I look forward to what that report says regarding the staffing at the San Marcos Police Department. Yes, ma'am.
I know you said you all use the license plate reader cameras to capture that vehicle that they used. I know there's been some back and forth with getting additional cameras for the area. If y'all had additional cameras, is that something that would have helped you further in this and finding these suspects quicker, in your opinion?
The question posed, if we had had additional, what I'll presume is license plate reader cameras, would that have helped us find the shooters or at least the vehicle sooner? I will simply stick with what I know. What I know is video surveillance from an outside camera of downtown Fire Station 1 was the initial capturing image of the suspect vehicle. From there, our detectives worked their magic and using license plate readers, were eventually able to identify the correct vehicle, which is now currently in our custody.
One more question?
Where did you guys find the vehicle?
We're not going to comment, where did we find the suspect vehicle? I'm not going to provide that specific of information. Good question, though. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Surley.
Thank y'all. If y'all have any other questions, y'all can forward those to communicationsinfo@sanmarcostx.gov. Thank you.
All right, we just heard from the Chief of Police in San Marcos, and I'm going to go over a few of the details that were talked about throughout this press conference. I'll start in English, and then I'll go through in Spanish. On the 1st of November at 10 p.m., officers responded to a call of multiple gunshots fired near Kissing Alley in downtown San Marcos. 3 people were shot, 2 were transported to a hospital in Cayo, and the 3rd was taken to a hospital in San Marcos, where he later died. Police are looking for 2 suspects related to this incident. They left the area in a 4-door Audi A3 that police say has since been recovered. They recovered the vehicle and are working to identify the suspects. They also said that one way that helped them find this vehicle was through security cameras outside of a nearby fire department and using license plate reader cameras. The second incident happened on November 2nd at 1:25 a.m. Officers responded to a separate incident in the 1600 block of Post Road after multiple callers reported a fight-turned-shooting. Officers found shell casings and a large amount of blood near the pool. A victim was later identified at a local hospital after being driven there by friends. The suspect in this case has not been located. The third incident was also on November 2nd, but happened at around 1:50 in the morning. As officers were leaving the Hopkins Street area, multiple gunshots were heard on North LBJ Drive. Officers chased and arrested 20-year-old Eliezer Johnson Hernandez, and it is unclear if anything was struck by the gunfire. This incident is unrelated to the other shootings, the earlier shootings as well. I will repeat that information for our Spanish speakers in Spanish. El día 1 de noviembre a las 10 de la noche, los agentes respondieron a una llamada por múltiples disparos cerca de Kissing Alley en el centro de San Marcos. 3 personas recibieron disparos, 2 fueron trasladadas a un hospital en Cayo y el tercero fue llevado a un hospital en San Marcos donde allí falleció. La policía busca a dos sospechosos relacionados con este incidente. Abandonaron la zona en un Audi A3 de 4 puertas y la policía ha recuperado el vehículo y está trabajando para identificar a los sospechosos. El segundo incidente ocurrió el 2 de noviembre a las 1:25 de la mañana. Los agentes respondieron a un incidente separado en la manzana 1600 de Post Road después de que varias personas llamaran para informar de una pelea que se convirtió en un tiroteo. Ahí los agentes encontraron casquillos y una gran cantidad de sangre cerca de una piscina. Más tarde, una víctima fue identificada en un hospital local después de que sus amigos lo llevaran allí. El sospechoso de este caso no ha sido localizado. El tercer incidente también ocurrió el 2 de noviembre, pero a la 1:50 de la mañana. Cuando los agentes abandonaron la zona de Hopkins Street, se escucharon varios disparos en North LBJ Drive. Los agentes persiguieron y detuvieron a Eliezer Johnson Hernández, de 20 años, y no está claro si los disparos alcanzaron a alguien. Este incidente no está relacionado con los tiroteos anteriores. And all of this information we will have on our website, kxan.com, as soon as we get that article updated with the latest details. Please visit our website, kxan.com. Thanks so much for joining us.